It's rare that an entire industry gets a chance to reinvent itself. Thank you. The trials and tribulations of the music industry are well documented. The scenes like this, if you can make out the quite grainy picture, are from my youth when I used to trawl the shelves of Our Price and Tower Records and spend 3 hours on a Saturday morning browsing through vinyl and CDs. The problem was, with the explosive growth of technology, the music file became very easy to move over fixed line connections. And the advent of Napster in 1996 was a turning point in the history of the music industry. I've been in the music industry for 20 years. At the time, I was at BMG, and Bertelsmann, 2 weeks after I left BMG, Bertelsmann acquired Napster, and I moved to Universal in 2000. The single biggest problem, apart from the decline in revenues from the piracy problem, the single biggest problem alongside the decline in revenues was the fact that we philosophically lost a generation of customers. And the last 8 years, we have spent chasing that demography, those lost consumers. I like to think that in the advent of an all-access business for us, we will transcend piracy. There is nothing more disappointing to the school kid with a hard drive of 80,000 tracks in a playground, nothing more disappointing when he tries to share it with a friend than their friend holding up a mobile phone and saying, I have access to 25 million. We shall transcend piracy. I like to think that this is the last time in an audience like this that I will actually have to show a slide like this, because piracy of a service is next to impossible. So what is actually going on? What is driving the transition in the music business? And I like to think as well that, and I'll show you a slide later on, we're kind of at the point of inflection on a global basis. I look after the digital business for Universal globally, so I have a very macro view on what's happening. There are some markets where we haven't historically been able to sell anything on physical carrier, that we're just jumping straight to digital. And our emerging market strategy within Universal is very aggressive, 3-digit million euros targeted over the next 3 years in all the 5-6 big emerging markets. So there are essentially 3 parallel migrations going on. There's a device migration, and there was a piece of news that broke last week, I'm not sure if anybody caught it, which was very significant for me as a content guy. 50%, more than 50% of all chips manufactured now are manufactured for mobile devices. So we've inflected, the chip manufacturing business has inflected from fixed line to mobile. That has a huge impact. So the first migration that's happening is consumers globally are migrating through the device chain. They're moving away from fixed line PCs and into more mobile devices. That has a huge impact on how consumers go on to consume content, and specifically music. The other migrations that are happening in parallel are the migration of consumers from single track usage to all access usage, so a la carte through to subscription. That's a kind of a mechanical migration. Alongside that is the third migration of consumers and how they pay. And the greatest turmoil that we're facing at the moment is convincing the creative community of the value of subscription. And the problem we have is they're instantly comparing a subscription, a use of a track on a service like Mog or Spotify, with the purchase of a track on an a la carte store, looking at the various payments that triggers and making an inaccurate assumption. So there's these 3 big migrations that are going on. All of this activity, all of these migrations are fueled by the explosive growth of technology, and we are fast moving into a world where everything will be connected. Not everything will have a screen, but everything will be connected. And you'll control a connected device through a machine with a screen. So your smartphone or your tablet will control your home automation. But everything will be connected. We're moving towards the Internet of Things. Again, that has a significant impact on how we live our lives. This is a Wi-Fi connected thermostat. And there's no reason why this is controlled from a smartphone or an iPad in your home. It's a device called a Nest. There's no reason why you can't sync up your home thermometer and how you control the temperature in your house with your music collection. Slow down the BPM, raise the temperature. It's coming. So what does it actually take these days to stream audio? This isn't to scale, clearly. This is a US quarter. It's about 25 millimeters in diameter. What would it take to stream music to this device and turn this device into a mobile listening device? That is all you need. That's an ARM Cortex A0 processor, some buffer memory, an A to D converter, and a network connection. That is all you need. That's your gateway to 25 million tracks. And you need a headphone jack. Think about the impact on my business when that is all you need. That could be bundled in T-shirts, it could be bundled in programs, it could be bundled in badges, it could be bundled in headphones, you name it. My business is about to change completely. So all this is great, and it's all kind of theoretical. How do we get money? And again, we've been exploring over the last 6 years, and Universal has essentially been quite pioneering in this space. How do we get money from the use of our music? Obviously, there's the single track model with iTunes and various other a la carte stores around the world. There's the subscription model. Through subscription, we've experimented with things like free to consume or ad funded. We're doing some experiments on market by market basis with search funded. And we're also doing some experiments with brand funded access to music, where a brand will cover the cost of the music and use the music to enhance an experience, or to acquire customers, or to reduce churn, or to drive some ARPU. I'll get into some case studies in a minute. But at the moment, this is how global revenue by usage looks for Universal. And there's a projection. This projection is slightly out of date. These dates should probably shift that way. So 2012 should really be here. It's looking like 50% of our business this year will be driven by digital. Maybe. A lot depends on what happens in Q4. There's a lot of gifting in the physical business, so it tends to skew heavily towards physical. At the moment, we're cooking at about 55% digital for the year so far. Significant. This is the transition point. We have bottomed out as an industry, and we're about to turn. So in terms of brand funding, about 6-7 years ago, we realized that we should be experimenting in this space. We did a deal with a device manufacturer, Nokia, who were at the time the biggest and now no longer. That's what technology does, unfortunately, if you don't keep up with it. We did a deal with them called Comes With Music. It was what was termed a cross-subsidy deal, where the price of the music was bundled into the price of the device. That triggered some thinking internally, and we decided to embark on a brand journey. And 6 years ago, we put together a team that reports into me. Very low targets revenue-wise initially in 6 years. This is three-figure million euro business for us. Throws off about a 45% margin. But more importantly, the value that our content has brought to these brands is in excess of 2 billion euros. And we have significantly changed the brand strategy for a number of these companies. And these companies exist across operators, automotive, insurance, banking, booze. Any brand that has an interest in acquiring customers or retaining customers, content is key. So some examples. I won't go through all of these. Some of them are more relevant to the group than others. We did something for Co-op in Switzerland. which is a family supermarket. We built them an offer with a marketing campaign based around loyalty and a loyalty program in regards to their in-store cards, just in Switzerland. This is now one of the biggest download services in Switzerland, and it's just Universal Music. We did another deal as well with Singtel in Singapore, just with Universal Music. We crafted a service for them called Amped. We built the platform, and that service, within the first 12 months, lifted the entire music consumption in Singapore by 20%. The entire music industry lifted by 20 points. Now that service has all the other majors in as well, and the Singapore business is doing great things. Apple have just opened an iTunes store in Singapore, which is also doing good things. Some stats there from the Co-op. It triggered other bits and pieces. We have stuff going on with Sears, Carrefour in France, Target in the US, Delhaize. We're very active also in the automotive space. And again, this is all just Universal's business development activity. And these brands come to us and say, we have an idea with using your music to do this. Or we have a churn reduction target of 3 points. Can you help us? And we'll build a platform for them and make it live and help them with their marketing effort, with bringing in acts, live events, merchandise, all of these various things that we can bring to the table. The thing about the Hyundai thing was that they wanted to attract more youth into their purchasing program, and that's exactly where we live. To make the point as well, in terms of, to go back to the first thing I said about losing a generation, the interesting thing about subscription, it's appealing far more to the youth. The youth get subscription much more than the older generations. So we may have lost a generation, but we've recaptured a new generation. Something like 60% of all Spotify users in Sweden are between the ages of 14 and 24. Sweden, 80% of our entire business in Sweden is now Spotify, including all the physical retail. 80% of our entire business is one streaming partner. Huge difference. Sweden is now they're now, Universal Music Sweden is now bigger than it's ever been. And they're back investing in A&R. There's some great new bands coming out of Sweden, artists like Avicii and Swedish House Mafia, and that's what happens. We did the same thing in Korea. We reinvigorated the business in Korea by licensing a pirate service called Soribada. 2 years after we licensed that service, K-pop exploded throughout the entire region because there was money coming back into the music economy and being reinvested back in breaking bands. To make the point as well, the music industry never really lost faith in itself. The last 10 years, investment in A&R and marketing of bands has been bigger than the previous 30 years. So the music industry has continued to reinvest despite not having the volume of cash disposable to do so. So that's how much faith the music industry has had in the inflection. I'll get onto some more case studies in terms of our brand activity. I think the battery's going in my technology. We've also done other bits and pieces. A great project we've done with Peugeot, now live in 32 markets. Started in France, similar sort of thing, buy car, get music. Car's a mobile device. The Société Générale was one of the first banking projects we did. We built them a dedicated web platform for music consumption. Again, banks operate in the same way that I like to think subscription services should operate. Get the consumers in when they're young, and they'll be a customer of yours for life. They wanted to increase their brand appeal and drive an acquisition strategy. Société Générale have a brand called So Music, 250,000 subscribers, all new subscribers into the bank, 74% customer satisfaction rate, 38,000 Facebook fans, meets and greets. There's been some standalone concerts. Let me show you this video. George, can you hit the button, please? Thank you.
Universal Music and Société Générale present So Music. Its new credit card collection. So Music. So Music. Exclusive benefits. Concert, downloading, VIP contest, insurance MP3. SoMusic.fr. Insurance MP3. A special insurance against theft of your MP3 player and mobile phone. Concert.
I wanna dance in the lights.
Showcases, concert tickets, and discounts in the whole country.
I wanna go for a ride. Hop in the music and rock your body.
Come on, rock that body.
Rock your body.
Rock your body. Come on, rock that body.
VIP contest. Meet and greets, previews, and special gifts to win all year. Downloading. One track offered for each track bought, and included in your card, 10 tracks offered every year. Check out So Music new website, somusic.fr.
So there you have it. I mean, we're a record company, but we're offering insurance products and financial products through an association with a brand, being the bank. The Tape credit card won some domestic awards in France. You know, despite appealing to the youth who are a download generation, that was seen as very cool and very credible, I figure. It also triggered a whole host of other activity within the banking sector, specifically throughout Europe. And this is, again, this is one of our big tentpole pieces of activity within our brand relationships. Again, no territory is too out there for our brand association activity. This is something we got going on in Russia with ER Telecom. This is something we have going on in Brazil with GVT. GVT is part of the Vivendi group, so there's a lot of synergistic activity with other companies within Vivendi. GVT is one, Morocco Telecom in Morocco is another. Again, great results from our GVT activity. This is all of our operator partners around the world. The QTEL deal in the Middle East enabled us to open an office in a region where we weren't previously, didn't have a footprint. And we now have an office there. There are 10 people working in the Middle East. It's throwing off about $1 million in bottom line revenue. So, you know, that all came out of one deal with an operator, a brand association with an operator. Big global deal with HP. I'm going to skip through these because I can see people yawning. The last one I'm going to touch on is our Airtel deal in India. Again, another operator. They wanted to position Airtel was seen as the state-owned incumbent, a bit like BT in the UK. They wanted to position Airtel as a young and innovative brand. The guy who runs our business in India is actually a rock star in his own right. He's the lead singer in India's biggest rock band. So he came up with an idea and a concept which was very artist-friendly and operator-friendly as well. And it's called My Song, My Story. Last video, please, Jules. Thank you.
Really? तो आप भी क्या हमारी तरह मस्ती किया?
बहुत ज्यादा मस्ती करते थे कि सारे लड़के थे ना, एक ही एजेंडा था, कोई छोकरी पट जाए बस।
सर अब सब कहाँ हैं?
फिर प्रायोरिटी बदल गई, छोकरी से प्रायोरिटी बन गई नौकरी, कोई यूएस, कोई कनाडा, कोई दुबई, बिछड़े सभी बारी बारी।
But don't you miss them?
Yeah, of course I miss them, and मैंने उनके लिए गाना भी लिखा।
गाना?
Way back, of course. तन्हा दिल, तन्हा सफर।
Sir, you have to sing that song, sir, please.
One line, please.
तन्हा दिल तन्हा सफर ढूंढे तुझे फिर क्यों न
Listen to your favorite stars, their songs, their stories. Only on Airtel My Song, My Story.
So again, bringing proximity between brand and artist. You know, India for us, from a revenue basis, is a very small market, massive opportunity. That was actually a TV spot for the association. They've now got they've got 1.3 million subscribers, and monthly uniques are way in double-digit millions. So Airtel are extremely happy with that. That's the last of the case studies. The last thing I'm going to leave you with as well is, you know, in terms of the industry, we have historically been seen as quite a difficult industry to work with. Our transitionary process has made us very humble. Very humble indeed. When you stare death in the face, it changes the inner psyche. We are a much more approachable business than we've ever been, and Universal is a much more approachable company than we've ever been. So I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you for your attention.